Welcome to East Rising, a show dedicated to developing Eastern North Carolina into an economic powerhouse by promoting STEM education to prepare our workforce for current and future opportunities right here. This 30-minute program speaks to stakeholders of education, industry, and development to find out what is going on and how it can keep our homegrown talent blooming where they were planted, right here in Eastern North Carolina. Now here's your host, Henry Hinton.
Welcome to another edition of East Rising. This is a program that highlights the great work of the NC East Alliance. As we've talked about in the past, the NC East Alliance is doing some great work in the world of STEM education and recruiting and retaining people to stay and work in Eastern North Carolina. Some great guests tonight. Here's another edition of East Rising. Wesley Beddard is with us. We know Wesley from his days as president of Martin Community College, but he retired there in December. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you. Great. Wesley is now the part of the STEM East leadership team with NC East Alliance, and your role is pretty much to be the liaison to community colleges to try to get this program rolling through community colleges, right?
Yes, absolutely. We have 16 community colleges that are in our footprint, and so I'm working with them, having them join us, coordinating the efforts with them, because, you know, this initiative, and we know most of the better jobs now require something beyond high school. They may not require a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, but it requires some training. So we think community colleges are the key for doing what we're trying to do in Eastern and Northeastern North Carolina.
Community colleges are so impressive, and don't get the credit they deserve or the funding they deserve from the state. I've been in meetings the last couple of weeks with Scott Rawls from Wake Tech, who, of course, was president of the state community college system, and of course at Craven before that.
My former boss.
Yeah. We got to know Scott when he was in New Bern. He's done an awesome job. Now he's running Wake Tech, and we're working with him on some broadcast programming.
Yes.
But anyway, so this new injection of cash that's come from the state budget last year into the NC East Alliance is allowing you to start some new programs, and I love what your group is doing with it because, you know, kind of simply stated, you're trying to use that to educate kids and also work on them to get them opportunities in Eastern North Carolina rather than having to go off to Raleigh or Charlotte. We just had that Wall Street Journal story where Raleigh is now ranked 14th in the country for job opportunities. But there are so many job opportunities in Eastern North Carolina. And let me tell you, the cost of living here versus because my daughter lives in Raleigh. The cost of living in Raleigh is becoming one of the highest in the country.
Absolutely. And in Eastern North Carolina, students hear the reports that, you know, Raleigh's this and Charlotte's that and San Antonio's this, and they often think, I have to leave. And sometimes they're hearing it from people in their own communities. But they're phenomenal jobs in Eastern North Carolina. So two things we hope to do, and the third I'll talk about is the way we're doing it. Our best and brightest often feel they have to leave, and that's the tragedy because they're phenomenal jobs here, and we just have to make them aware of the jobs that are here. But also, we have those that are staying that often don't have the skill set they need that employers are looking for. So we need to attack both of those. We need to let our best and brightest young people know there are phenomenal careers in Eastern and Northeastern North Carolina. And those that are staying, they're great jobs. Here's the skill set you need so you can be competitive for those jobs and land those really great jobs that help pay family-sustaining wages. And the cost of living in Eastern North Carolina makes it so much better. I moved to Martin County from Johnston County, and the difference in housing prices is just phenomenal. So our dollars
Johnston County is now part of the Raleigh metro.
It absolutely is. And what we're doing, our approach is a little different. To reach students, we're going through educators. We're making sure the educators know, hey, what happens in that business? What are they doing over there? Get inside the fence, get inside the building and see, because they think, oh, that's a manufacturing facility. I don't want good people to go work in there because they think it's, you know, way back from the 60s manufacturing, and now it is just so different than it was. And they're technicians that work in there. They're just not laborers, they're technicians. But you need a skill set.
And they make good money.
They make incredible money. So we want, and we know that educators are a conduit to reach students. So we want to make sure the educators know so they can share with students. And so many of them have such a strong influence on what students choose to do. post high school. So we want to have them be a part of the influence network that positively influences students to stay in Eastern North Carolina and be contributors to our Eastern North Carolina economy.
We've talked before. I know when Ethan Lenker was here last month, we talked a little about some of the jobs that are available. But can you kind of give us some of the jobs that we're talking about here? I know we talked about the incredible program down in Havelock at Cherry Point.
Yes.
That needs skilled workers.
Yes, and just 2 weeks ago, I was up in Elizabeth City. Actually, I was in Currituck County, and College of the Albemarle has an aviation program up there, and they pretty much, the Coast Guard has up in Elizabeth City pretty much the same thing that FRC East has down in Havelock.
I've been through the Elizabeth City aviation program. That's pretty amazing.
You
can go to college and learn how to fly a big airplane.
And you can also go up there and learn how to service all of those aircraft, and they do a ton of that. So, but those opportunities, I've lived in Eastern North Carolina all my life. I knew about FRC and Cherry Point down in Havelock. I didn't know about the jobs up in northeastern North Carolina in Elizabeth City area in the exact same thing. Well, if I've been in this for a long time and I've been in higher education and I don't know about it, how's a first-generation college student going to know about those things?
Yeah.
Or a high school student that's not sure if they want to go to college? How will they know unless we're able to get that information to them?
We keep hearing that there are a couple of huge job announcements coming in Greenville, and I know they got delayed.
Yes.
So my understanding was it got delayed once because Roy Cooper couldn't be here because Biden was going to be in Raleigh. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what I was told. And I hear it's coming soon. And you're talking about Greenville getting ready to add huge numbers of jobs.
Absolutely.
Which is really exciting news on many levels. It won't be exciting on Friday afternoon on Greenville Boulevard when we add another 10,000 people in Greenville. But we're getting ready to have some other jobs that are going to be available here. And these are going to be STEM kind of jobs.
Absolutely. And what we want to do is use the network of all our community colleges and our K-12 partners, because Pitt County doesn't have all the workers that these new companies are going to need, because they already have a large manufacturing base. So we're going to have to go outside of Pitt County. We're going to have to reach into Martin and Edgecombe and Hertford and Bertie and Greene and all of these counties. And that's what community colleges want to do. And that's why this 29 county effort that encompasses all of eastern and northeastern North Carolina, we all want to work in partnership for that, rather than everybody saying, oh, we only want to train jobs in our area. No, we want to train jobs for the region. We want to keep people in the region. If we keep them in the region, that rising tide will lift all our communities. And that's what we're really trying to do through NC East.
I love this philosophy. I know when Todd Edwards first told me about it, and what you guys are doing, I thought, man, this could be the most significant economic thing that I've heard in Eastern North Carolina maybe ever, because we are losing young people that don't want to live here. Well, I don't say they don't want to live here, that they think they can't live here.
Absolutely. That's the key.
But you could make a salary that's probably 70% or 65% of what you're making in Raleigh and bring more money home.
Have more money at the end of the week. Absolutely. And that's what we want to do. And I tell you, that's why, when I announced my retirement, my wife said, okay, let's travel. And my traveling has been all over Eastern North Carolina, going to 16 community colleges so far.
That was before Todd got a hold of you.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
but this is important. I mean, I feel so. I'm from Pitt County. I'm from Ayden. I've been in Eastern North Carolina.
I did not know that.
Eastern North Carolina most of my life, so I bleed Eastern North Carolina, and I want to see it successful. So when this opportunity came up, I said, okay, I'm on it. And I'm so excited about it that I shared it with my wife. She even volunteered she helped with the registration at Vision 2024. And that was after she thinking we were going to hit the road and travel everywhere. So she's excited about it too. And the more people we talk to, they're just saying, this is phenomenal. This is what we need to do as a region, to market ourselves as a region, to make sure students know and employers know, hey, we're going to keep the workforce here and we're going to provide you with trained workers. And that's what we really want to do.
So your role is going to be to coordinate all these programs with community colleges.
Absolutely. We want to engage them. I've gone around and met with teams from every community college. I've got 2 more to go in our region, but met with them and tell them what we're about. But I've also asked them, what do you need us to do? Because I want to make sure we're serving our community colleges. So I asked them, what are 5 things we can do to help you advance STEM and technical education in our region? And they're sending me their list. And I just sent my list to Todd Edwards and Van Rogerson last week, and I'm going to talk about it next week. say, here's what community colleges need us to do. So we'll really start moving into an action plan to really help them do what they need to do. So overall, everything we do through NC East reaches young people and helps develop our economy in eastern and northeastern North Carolina.
Wesley Beddard, who, of course, former president of Martin Community College, now part of the STEM East leadership team. I love that, STEM East. That's part of the NC East Alliance, and some great work going on there.
The NC East Alliance is a regional economic development organization representing 29 counties in eastern North Carolina. NC East leads advocacy efforts in the region by convening stakeholders to identify important regional challenges and to ultimately pursue solutions to these challenges. NC East Alliance has a history of economic development in eastern North Carolina since the early 1990s. The organization, as it is known today, is the result of a merger of the Northeast Partnership and the Eastern Partnership in 2014. NC East Alliance has marketed eastern North Carolina as a diverse regional home to a variety of established industries including agriculture, aviation, pharmaceuticals, boat building, healthcare, and many others. NC East staff recruited companies from around the world and sold them on the opportunity of locating their operations in an affordable region with a high quality of life. Over the years, NC East has facilitated over 100 company visits to the region, showcasing each county's assets. Many of these visits were international companies looking to establish a presence in the United States. NC East Alliance is the only regional economic development organization focusing on teachers as a workforce. The teachers of eastern North Carolina are a critical economic development asset of the region as they teach and train our regional homegrown workforce of the future. The development of a homegrown workforce in tandem with marketing and talent attraction is critical to support the continued recruitment of industry to the region. The NC East Alliance is at the front of this coordination.
We got a superstar in the studio with us, Dr. Ethan Lenker, the retiring. I guess it's too early to call you retiring. He's not the retiring, but you have announced your retirement.
Yes, sir.
The superintendent of Pitt County Schools. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's
How are you?
I'm doing great.
You know, it was leaked to me a while back that you were going to be stepping down as superintendent. You have been you've been a rock star. So first of all, congratulations on your tenure here. I know you were in Jones County before that, and where else?
Sampson County before that.
Yeah,
so I've had almost 20 years as a school superintendent, and it's I tell everybody I've been being lucky to keep this job 20 years and work with great people. And here in Pitt County, yourself and everyone else in Greenville and Pitt County have been great to me and great to the school system. So I'm just lucky to stay here and get the job.
You've done a great job, and you've remained non-political in a political atmosphere, which I think has been one of the keys.
That's a skill, right?
To your success. Yeah. But you really have accomplished a lot, and you've been a perfect fit in this community. And the good news is that you're going to remain involved because you've got a new role with the NC East Alliance.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about that opportunity. Working with the schools, one of the things we've really promoted is working with our teachers to get real access to what the jobs look like in Eastern North Carolina for our teachers and our students. So, I mean, you got to know what's going on in these buildings so you know how to prepare our kids. And again, I praise teachers because they're the best in the world. But when you look at what we're doing, we got to keep our kids here in Eastern North Carolina. That's what this group's about, NC East Alliance. And I've worked with STEM East. I was one of the founding superintendents with STEM East. That's a subset of this group. And we've been working with companies in the East for 10 years. And we've really got it now to where we got the community colleges on board, and we can really see that economic development or the workforce development piece for sure coming together. And that's just something we got to do. And in Pitt County, we've promoted that with our Tradesformers programs and our Pharma K-12 program that we do with Thermo Fisher and all these, and our ECU health program. So just some great opportunities for our students. And now we're just going to try to expand that to most of Eastern North Carolina.
I want to come back to your role at NC East Alliance and talk about some of those things. But let me go back to your years in public education. Now that you're leaving that particular part of public education, although you're going to still be involved, maybe you'll feel free to give some some unfiltered answers a little bit. Tell us about public education in the state of North Carolina. I mean, it's become a political football, and it depends on who you're listening to. We've just had Catherine Truitt, the superintendent, defeated in a primary, and I was shocked at that.
I think a lot of people were surprised.
Catherine's an old friend of mine. I think she'd done a very good job, but she became the target of a far-right attack from a group that said that she had not done enough on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, that she had not been as supportive as she should have been of the Parents' Bill of Rights and those kind of things. Talk about those things going on. But you have an interesting perspective. We were talking about this when you came in the studio earlier. The whole issue of DEI in public schools.
Right.
Is it overblown?
Well, I think in take public schools out, but we look at the real world compared to public schools. When I think of, I know a couple years ago we hired a director of equity. In fact, you called me on it at one point, if you remember that. Years ago.
Remember, yeah.
And we had to explain what it was, and people just didn't understand because the word equity has become almost a four-letter word, right? So when we look at DEI with us, it's really, I mean, we're a very diverse school system, so we got to have diverse programs, diverse needs. All of our kids need a little something different, and that's really where the equity comes in. Mm-hmm. Equity for schools, and Catherine Truitt has said this numerous times, it's about opportunities. It's not about outcomes. I can't predict the outcomes, but I can certainly give them the best opportunities going in so they can have better opportunities for outcomes, right? That's what this is about for us, for a school district. If I go to any of our high schools, it doesn't matter which one, I should be able to have some of the same opportunities. And that's what our equity is about. And that's really, we've actually gone back and changed the name. I was actually meeting with a group, it's actually a Republican group, and they just told me, said, you need to change the name. and I said, you're probably right.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I mean, it's a little bit of a branding issue.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. So we actually call it access and opportunity. I mean, that's what it's about now. Our whole department is access and opportunity for our students.
Right.
And that's what this is about. I mean, it doesn't matter what school you go to. You should be able to get an AP calculus class, or you should be able to get access to our advanced technical academy with Pitt Community College, or go to Pitt Community College and take career college promise classes, So that's what equity is about. And that's why we kind of just said, well, it's really about access. So we just changed the name to access and opportunity because, kids may want to go work at Thermo Fisher or Heister Yale and ECU Health. I hate to pick, they're just ones I know off the top of my head. I'm not, but if that's what they want, then we need to help them get there. They may want to go to ECU. They want to go to 4-year college or 2-year college. If that's what they want, we need to help them get there. I mean, almost 10% of our students are classified as AIG. The state funds us at 4%.
What's AIG?
I'm sorry. That's academically intelligent and gifted.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So
I should know that.
Yeah, you should. That's right. So
I was not that, but I should.
But we support that more above and beyond what the state does because that's what the kids need, and that's what the kids deserve. And so when we try to support our students, that's kind of how we approach.
Right.
I'm going to say it, access and opportunity instead of the other words. So.
My grandson was in private school and transferred this year. He wanted to go to high school at Rose, and he's in public school, and he's having a terrific experience so
awesome.
far.
Glad to hear it.
But there are issues in public schools. I don't think anybody can deny that. And now we have opportunity scholarships, and people can choose to take their tax dollars and go to a private school, which I don't. I see the issue with that and funding for public schools, but what I'm leading to is your vision and your view of where we are in public schools in North Carolina and the future of public schools.
Well, the opportunity scholars, I guess, are what they are. I obviously have problems with the way it's been handled completely. When they first came out 10 years ago, it was going to be at this level first, and now it's open to everybody. And we said back then, as soon as they pass it, it's going to, 2 or 3 years, it'll just become open to anybody who wants it. So I guess I have issues with that from the public school standpoint. I also understand that we've got to be the best game in town. And I tell people that all the time when I speak in front of groups of General Assembly members or parents when, if that's your choice, that's your choice. And I don't think public schools can be 100% perfect for 100% of the kids and the families. Never have, don't, that's unrealistic. But for 85 to 90%, we are the best. And that's where we are. We're about 85% of the community now. It's where we've been almost my entire career here in Pitt County. Hopefully I'd like to see it get a little bit higher, but You know, we get a lot of students that come to us after going to private schools, and if that's the choice they want to make, I have zero issue with private schools if that's what they want to do, or even charter schools if that's what they want. My biggest issue, let's play the game fair. You know, I got to take one big test at the end of the year that they plaster all over the front page of the media, right? That says how good or bad you're doing. Nobody else has to do that. So that's, to me, that's where the game needs to be shared a little bit. If we're going to talk about how good everyone's doing or how bad or whatever the terminology is, we need to then make sure we're playing by the same rules. You know, we've been fighting you've heard me talk about the calendar issue for how long I've been in Pitt County for 11 years, right?
And it's still not resolved.
And, you know, it's the first thing on my agenda when I'm meeting with the General Assembly members next month, right? Number one, right, is still the calendar. But, you know, if it's so important that why can't we make some decisions on that? You know, we used to be called the local education agency where the L stood for local. Well, there's no local anymore because we have almost zero control of what can go on. So it's those sort of things. You know,
and this was the Bass Night law, right?
Oh,
and now Bass Night's gone.
And it's still the law.
But his family still owns businesses on the Outer Banks. But the businesses on the Outer Banks and Carteret County, they don't want you to start schools before August 26th.
Have you seen the bill? Have you seen the Carteret County?
No.
Okay, they're starting on like August 16th.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know the exact date, but they're starting early, and their General Assembly members supported it.
I thought it was against the law.
Well, I'll let you handle that with the General Assembly members, all right? So I think there's probably 15 or 20 school districts who are starting early. So.
This is the most fun interview I've ever done with Dr. Lenker. This is Ethan Lenker Unplugged. He's unfiltered today. I love it. All right, let's talk about your new role with NC East Alliance. What exactly is your role going to be?
My role is really going to be to work with school systems and helping teachers understand what's going on in workforce development and what the jobs are for our students, and trying to keep all those students here in Eastern North Carolina. We all need people to help us in our community, whether it's medical, whether it's aviation, whether it's up and down the coast, you know, in Carteret County, whatever. We all need our students to stay and help build our economy, and that's how we're going to do it. I think there's 6 districts in this general area that are actually growing, and everyone else is actually, when I say districts, counties that are actually shrinking in population. We've got to figure out how to keep our people here, and especially our students, because they're the ones that are going to keep it going.
And part of the message that we've talked about is the fact that, you know, even though kids leave and they want to go to Raleigh or they want to go to Charlotte after they graduate from college or community college or whatever, the cost of living in Eastern North Carolina is so much better than it is in Raleigh. I mean, Raleigh's got one of the highest cost of livings in the country now.
Right.
And so, you know, you can live in Eastern North Carolina and make a great living in some of these STEM jobs.
Oh, for sure.
If the parents will encourage kids to get into these STEM programs and the programs that you're talking about and that NC East Alliance is really working with right now.
Right.
They'll at the end of the month they'll end up with more money in their bank account.
Oh, for sure. And you know, we're really working with schools to create our STEM schools of distinction. You know, Pitt County's got 3 right now, and if you wait a couple weeks, that number's getting ready to go up. So we'll share that later. But you know, so that just gives kids that opportunity on how to work with their hands and problem solve, which is what our businesses want. I mean, they you know, they'll be the first to tell you that filling out a multiple choice test, it doesn't occur very often, you know, in most of these businesses, right? So they want students who can read and problem solve and work as teams. And that's really what our STEM schools of distinction are working to do. That's something we're going to help promote up and down the East Coast with all of our school districts. And that's something I'm going to help with. We've been pretty successful in Pitt County, and I want to be able to help other districts do the same for their students.
Very excited that you've made this, that you're going to make this transition. When's your last day with Pitt County Schools?
The official last day is July 30th.
Okay.
So.
And you start immediately with you're not going to take 6 months off.
Not 6 months, but I got a little bit of vacation in there, so I'll get some time somewhere for sure. So.
Well, congratulations on a great career in public education. You've been superintendent of the year so many times I can't remember. but you also won regional superintendent of the year for the region.
3 times.
3
Not
times.
that anybody's counting, right?
Not that anybody's counting. I love this guy this morning. He's on fire.
So,
but no kidding. It's you've been a rock star.
Thank you.
I think in public education in North Carolina, and you don't have any political ambitions, do you?
No.
Would you ever run for state superintendent?
Well, I'll tell you the problem with that is it's a state job, which means I have to come out of retirement to do it. So the answer is no. So is that for non-political answer? Is that good?
Yeah.
But it's I've been just lucky to be here in Pitt County. I think we got a lot of good things going on, great things going on. Public schools, the things we're offering our kids are fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
what are you most proud of?
Someone asked me that question the other day, and we've done some things on both sides, I think, for all of our kids. Our early colleges, one at PCC and one at ECU, are two of the best early colleges in the state of North Carolina, truly. I mean, the one at PCC has won 3 national awards. Mm-hmm. I mean, 3 years in a row as the National Title I School of the Year. I mean, that just doesn't happen by accident, right? So those programs are truly amazing. I look at Tradesformers and what we've done with our
great program.
I mean, what we've done with our community.
I talk about that all the time. I was talking about it in another part of the state this week.
Now, we're going to expand that with the health sciences. What I'm working on with Trey and this group, we're going to health sciences and really get that worked up. We've talked to Michael Waldron about that and how we're going to make that on steroids, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Again, it goes back to the access and opportunities. Some kids need the early college. Some kids and families need Tradesformers, right? So we're giving them, as all kids get something, and that's really the goal of what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, the school system will miss you. And it's interesting. We're losing you in Pitt County at the same time we're losing Dr. Rouse at Pitt Community College.
We were a good team.
Yeah.
We were a really good team. I've known Dr. Rouse since I was in Sampson and he was in Duplin, and we've worked well together. And
you guys didn't coordinate this, did you?
No, we didn't.
We've got like a minute left before we got to have a hard break. Just one more word about the NC East Alliance and the work that they're doing, and we've got this new East Rising platform that we're going to be showcasing here on the stations. The work that's going on there and how important it is.
Well, I just think it's the best thing we're going to do in Eastern North Carolina in a long time, and partnering with all the workforce development organizations and economic development people just to help the whole area. We talk about the businesses here in Greenville and Pitt County. I mean, they don't just hire students from Greenville, our students, right? They hire students from all over up and down the East Coast, right? I think it's like 20 counties drive into some of our employers. So we need to all work together. And it's, one of the, I think Pitt County has shown that when you partner with people, you can get things done. Now it's time to partner outside of county lines and across county lines and up and down Highway 17 and make things happen.
The NC East Alliance is a regional economic development organization representing 29 counties in eastern North Carolina. NC East leads advocacy efforts in the region by convening stakeholders to identify important regional challenges and to ultimately pursue solutions to these challenges. NC East Alliance has a history of economic development in eastern North Carolina since the early 1990s. The organization, as it is known today, is the result of a merger of the Northeast Partnership and the Eastern Partnership in 2014. NC East Alliance has marketed eastern North Carolina as a diverse regional home to a variety of established industries including agriculture, aviation, pharmaceuticals, boat building, healthcare, and many others. NC East staff recruited companies from around the world and sold them on the opportunity of locating their operations in an affordable region with a high quality of life. Over the years, NC East has facilitated over 100 company visits to the region, showcasing each county's assets. Many of these visits were international companies looking to establish a presence in the United States. NC East Alliance is the only regional economic development organization focusing on teachers as a workforce. The teachers of Eastern North Carolina are a critical economic development asset of the region as they teach and train our regional homegrown workforce of the future. The development of a homegrown workforce in tandem with marketing and talent attraction is critical to support the continued recruitment of industry to the region. The NC East Alliance is at the front of this coordination.
You've been listening to East Rising right here on Talk 96.3 and 103.7. This has been a service of the NC East Alliance and Innerbanks Media. Tune in each Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 7 p.m. or listen as a podcast on the free IBX Media app available on the App Store or Google Play Store.